share city season in less than 25 days. Nepali, as I have learned, is once again, can we have a round of applause? I now request you to orient yourselves to the screen as we watch The Five Treasures of the Snow, a film by John Porter, an internationally respected documentary filmmaker. We are grateful to get exclusive access to BBC, Royal Geographical Society and Family Archives. The film will take us into the heart of Kanchenjunga many, many years ago.
At 8,586 metres, Kanchenjunga is the third highest mountain on Earth. Its Tibetan name means the five treasures of the snows. Buddhist communities believe the deity living on the mountain provides good harvests and protection from disease. Local people travelled around Kanchenjunga for centuries before the first botanist, Joseph Dalton Hooker. A good friend of Charles Darwin, Hooker travelled extensively to Nepal and Sikkim in 1848, 49 and 50, giving plants Latin names. In 1885, the Sikkimese Rinzin and Namgyal completed an illicit circumnavigation surveying of the British as a pundit. In 1899, Douglas Freshfield appointed Rinzin Namgyal as his guide to repeat the circumnavigation. Amongst the party was the famous Italian photographer. The photos of Everest helped inspire the first ever party. Against the odds, they reached 7,000 metres before a Lexus patch and 3 local porters died in an avalanche. Proudly scandalised British society with his bohemian lifestyle, his notoriety won him a place on the album cover of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. German attempts in 1929 and 1931, led by Paul Bauer, and an international expedition led by Norman Dyrenforth to the north side, all failed in bad weather. In the summer of 1954, John Hunt, leader of the successful Everest 1953 expedition, asked his deputy leader on Everest, Charles Evans, to organise a reconnaissance expedition to the southwest base of Kanchenjunga. Hunt planned to take a large-scale expedition there in 1956. Hunt wrote, "There is no doubt that those who first climb Kanchenjunga will achieve the greatest feat in mountaineering. For it is a mountain which combines in its defences not only the severe handicaps of wind, weather and very high altitude, but technical climbing problems and objective dangers even higher than those we encountered on Everest." Evans immediately appointed his friend Dow Tenzing as Sirdar. Dow was one of the most experienced high-altitude Sherpas in Nepal. At 14, he was on Everest when Maui and Irving were lost. He had been with the Germans on Nanga Parbat in the 30s, and the Swiss named him the King of the Sherpas in 52. Dow's judgment selecting the Sherpa team proved crucial to the success of the expedition. Evans selected his team mainly from fellow members of the Alpine Club. The exception was Joe Brown, a 24-year-old builder. A few working-class climbers were emerging as visionary alpinists. Brown was the best. Permission to climb on Kanchenjunga came from the Kugel of Sikkim, the righteous ruler, when Evans pledged that no one would set foot on the true summit. Then the expedition began in earnest. The 100-mile march took 10 days to the Arlong Glacier. Unusually severe weather slowed progress, but base camp was finally established on April 12. Camps 1 and 2 took them to 6,000 metres. Then on May 12, Evans and Hardy, supported by Lulu and Urquian, established Camp 4 on the Great Shelf at 7,100 metres. 5 days later, Camp 5 at 7,650 metres. The night on May 19th brought ominous change. The climbers and Sherpa in Camp 4 woke to snow battering the flimsy tent canvas. The storm lasted 60 hours. At dawn on the morning of the third day, Tashi looked out and shouted excitedly, "Sahib, it's clear. I can see all the way around from Darjeeling to Everest." Evans, Brown, Mather, Band, Tashi and Alatenzi climbed to Camp 5, arriving in desperate cold as the sun set. Buried tents and belongings were retrieved. Somehow the Sherpas produced mugs of hot tea to while away the anxious hours of darkness. On the 24th, the team climbed to 8,150 metres, where a narrow ledge for a tent was hacked out. After much handshaking, Evans, Mather and the Sherpas descended. In their magnificent hearing, Brown and Band felt the weight of expectation on their shoulders. The deity of Kanchenjunga was kind to them. May 25th, dawn 5, Brown and Band started up as the sun rose. The climbing was steep and difficult. At 2 p.m. they reached the summit pinnacle. Brown traversed right and climbed the highest rock ever undertaken at that altitude. Then Band heard a shout, "George, we're there." They honoured their promise not to set foot on the very top, just 10 metres away. They reached Camp 6 as darkness fell. Hardy and Strother were there, and all four squeezed into the two-man tent at night. Hardy and Strother repeated the ascent the next day in perfect weather. By May 28th, everyone was at base camp. Their jubilation at the success of what was supposed to be a reconnaissance was marred by the sad news that Penny Dorje had died of cerebral thrombosis on May 26th. Band wrote, "His loss was the one climb of our happiness in becoming a team of firm friends, Sherpas and climbers, sharing in that success." Against all odds, the expedition had discovered some of the hidden treasures of the Five Snows: fellowship, tenacity, and good fortune.
The film absolutely captures the sense of mountaineering